says your friend. Whereupon the traveler says, companions, I would hardly stop at one utterance, making a sound like a single coin in a jar. What a multitude of humans there are who dwell in confusion, failing to perceive the way, when love summons them day after day, but woe, they do not so much as turn their heads. The traveler pauses, you fall to your knees and weep. You know when you're by the ocean, walking on the sand, the water the tide goes out lightly, a tender stillness in your brain. Be there with me, the waves on your toes. The sound of the waves, they roll. You're there, all of a sudden, shadows. Shadows over the waves, a cloud, darkness, the onset. With the shadows, voices, howling. What are they howling? Obscenities. What are they howling? Profanities and blasphemies. Which ones? You recognize them. The voices over the waves. Which ones? The ones in your head. A voice says to you, you're already dead in the garbage. What do you say? Thanks, I'll think about it. Your body being devoured by worms. You, thanks, I'll think about it. Poverty, desolation, cattle prod, ball gag. What do you say? Do we know a pearl in our palm? Do we have to swallow it and feel it in our avenues? Does someone have to chew it for us like a mama bird? Mama, look at your son. He rips out a tooth and sends you the tooth. Look at your daughter. She sits in her car, torched because you told her she could burn. Father, tongue-tied and ancient, you led your people to the damp banks. I dug up the treasure you buried, and it was hundreds of yellow pages covered with numbers. The little old woman, offensive. Imagine this scenario. I didn't make this up. We worked for this. A man is walking by a frozen river. On the ice, a fish, gurgling. Something's caught in its throat. Am I the man who reaches into the unlikely throat of a fish, he asks himself. Pries open its jaws, takes care for the teeth. What does he find in it? Gold leaf paper scratched with an unreadable message. What did he learn? Does he know more now or when he only dreamed of knowledge? What did we learn in school? Triangles, shame, and disease. The Millennium started Coca-Cola. The French Revolution became Coca-Cola. Listen, do you hear that?
Yes.
Silence. What is silence? I'll tell you. No, I'll describe it to you. Imagine this scenario. There is a grasshopper king. His kingdom buzzes with ants. The ants come in and deliver messages. Ant after ant. The king is in agony. He blocks one door. The ants find another door. He blocks two doors. The ants find a third. He blocks every door. The ants dig a door. The king is in agony. He gives bribes. He's the king, and he gives bribes. The little old woman. Shameful. The king has an idea. He puts on an ant mask and delivers messages with the other ants. He gives an ant a mask in his face and has it sit on the throne. He delivers a message to the ant wearing a mask in his face. He finds himself alone. No messages. He hears something. What does he hear? Silence. What does silence sound like? The sound of someone impersonating you wearing a mask of your own face. Dear Moshe Feldstein, my ladle melted into the soup, rendering it inedible and impossible to serve. I followed the steps and now I'm more unhappy than ever before. The ladle is my life and the soup is the world, and my life and the world have merged. How do I extract myself? Will I be soup forever? Dear Rabbi Mendelssohn, will we be visiting those exquisite beauties tonight? I have been waiting all week to break a commandment. Best wishes, Rabbi Moshe Feldstein. Dear Rabbi Moshe Feldstein, I took your advice, now I'm a ghost. I guess I will see you in the afterlife and we can talk about it. Dear Marty Feldman, I painted your name in excrement on the bathroom walls of the Hillel house, signed your biggest fan. Dear Feldstein, the gig is up. Dear Moshe Feldstein, you fucked my life, you monster, signed Dina Feldstein. Dear Moshe Feldstein, I found out about you and Marty Feldman. It was written in excrement all over the bathroom wall of the Hillel house, signed your new greatest fan. Imagine this scenario. There are 15 steps up the Palace of Justice. What's held there? Your childhood possessions. How? They're being held hostage. You wandered looking for them. You looked long, at last you found it. You approached the steps. 13. See it with my eyes. Hanging out the window, a rope ladder made of ratty blankets. Your childhood possessions. They escaped. They were held hostage, and they escaped. But where did they go? They didn't even know. You don't know where they've gone. Is everything lost? Where is the done? Where will we know again the best jokes in our repertoire? Who tattoos your words of love on her thigh? You tattooed a piece of paper and called it a book. Oh, you wrote a book? What was your book about? How I punched my father in the face and enjoyed the fruits of my labor. What was your book about? How I tore my heart with my tooth to see if it had value. Were your ancestors fighters, holy seekers, women moaning with victory? Imagine this scenario in Island Kingdom. Along the coast, lines of ships, midnight blue sails, on a hill, a palace, in the garden, the king's daughter. Imagine, on her neck, opals, all around her, peacocks, see her with my eyes. Walls inlaid with lapis lazuli, a silver fountain, unheard of music, violins like birds, the peacocks call. Night, overthrow, the king is being sighed. Women and children huddle in a chapel. Double cross, the king's daughter tied to a stake outside a tent. Passing through many hands, the back of a truck. Sandstorm, escape, inflatable raft, pawn, jewel, back room, flash forward. You're waiting for the subway. At the end of the platform, a woman staring into a terrible nothingness. Who is the woman? The king's daughter. Who is the woman? Is she not the soul? Thank you.